To set up Logan Live Broadcasting, look for the equipment rack under the large monitor on the left in the control room. Find this power button and push it. It will start glowing blue. To turn on the large monitor on the left, use the large remote. To turn on the smaller teleprompter monitor, use the smaller remote. A remote does not work with the large monitor on the right, so you have to use your hand to find the top button on the left-hand side of the monitor. When you find the power button, push it. Go to the TriCaster control panel and turn on the two computer monitors behind it. With everything turned on, it may take a while for the system to boot up. At the login screen, choose the TriCaster account, type the password, and click Enter. You'll see the Windows 7 desktop appear briefly, because the TriCaster software is based on Windows 7. When the NewTek software loads up, you'll get a warning message. Just click Remind Me Later. You'll see the large control panel. You'll also have a standard computer keyboard. Go ahead and choose your session, and then click the Start Live Production button. It will take a while for the TriCaster software to load up. Once the session is loaded, you'll be able to see in the multi-view monitor video sources and how to control different playback sources like graphics and video clips. The control panel gives you control over all the different video sources and also playing back different clips. Each vertical column represents one video source, and that's why the numbers repeat. Each row represents where you're going to send that video source. This row is the program monitor. And so as you look on the program monitor, this is what's being sent out to the viewers at home. This bus is preview, and the preview monitor lets you look ahead at something before you send it out. On top of this is a row for what are called downstream keyers. These are sources that are added on top of the program row. So for example, if there is a name that comes in, it will play back over the scene. It's set up for downstream keyer number 1. Downstream keyers 2 and 3 we'll look at later. We're using those for transitions to different show segments. Downstream keyer 4 is a digital disc recorder. The digital disc recorder lets you choose different sources to play back. They can be video clips or still images. And we're going to use this in order to do the show open. The first video clip we have is the countdown music. If I take DDR1 up on the program bus, it will send it out to program, and we can see that it's got set up for the countdown music. I can scroll along the bottom to control where I'm going to start the video playback. I can also use keys to send it to the beginning of the clip or to the next clip. I can start it playing back and stop it. In addition to doing it using the mouse and the computer keyboard, I can also do it with controls on the control panel. In the lower right are the controls for the different playback sources. DDR1 is what we're looking at now, digital disc recorder 1. We also have a digital disc recorder 2, which lets us have clips, but we use it primarily for graphics for feeding monitors on the set. We also have some other ones that we don't normally use, graphics 1 and 2, and we can see those if we had any sources in them. But we normally leave DDR1 set up and DDR2 set up. Now notice, in addition to selecting our source to control here, we can also control that. So with DDR1 selected, instead of having to press the playback button here and stop it, we can use the playback button here and also stop it here. And I can reset it to the beginning. Oh, I can go back through them. I guess I was on the wrong clip. That was on the close. So I had jumped ahead to the close. Right now I'm going back to the show open. So you can see I can preset the different clips. So if I'm not on them on program, let's say we're looking at the anchors on the wide shot, I can go ahead and preset which video clip I will get to start to play next. All right, there's also controls to how the clips will play back. So let's go through the process of how you would set up for starting the show. You would be at the beginning of the countdown music. Following that in DDR2 is going to be the standard show open. That's going to be followed by the pledge, whatever graphics and video clips we use during the show, that will be for the anchors or for transitions such as public service announcements or news stories. And then we have the closing music, which also includes a graphic animated at the end. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up so we don't wait through all 7 minutes of the music and get it to where the music is just about to finish playing. Let me go ahead and punch it up on program. So I press DDR1. I've got about 12 seconds left. So now if I start playing it, I'll use the controller over here, and it will continue until this clip ends, and then it will automatically start playing the open. Now, to make sure I don't have other clips playing, I'll turn on single mode so it will stop at the end of the open. If I didn't have single mode on, it would immediately start showing the pledge, and we don't want to do that. Let me show you what else needs to be set up for the open to work. I'm going to go ahead and punch Mix Effects 2 up. Now, Mix Effects 2 is where our camera source comes from the studio. Instead of taking camera sources directly, which would be down here, cameras 1, 2, 3, and 4, we actually add them through special effects up here so that we can place it on our virtual set and replace the green screen that's in the studio with our virtual set. So instead of taking cameras 1, 2, 3, and 4 directly, we take them up here as Mix Effects 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what's interesting about camera 4 is that we use it for different sets. Right now we're looking at weather, but the same camera also feeds Words of Wisdom. And that same camera is used to feed sports. And it's also used to feed entertainment. And when we have a special guest for Spotlight, it also is used for that. Right now we don't have it preset for camera 4. Let's go back to camera 2 because this is the first one we'll be using for our show open. Now, the cameras need to be set up properly. So in our preview from each camera, if we double click it, we can go into the live mat settings. Now, if I turn this off, we'll see that the camera is just on a green background. But if I click in the green and drag it over that background, it will select that as the source. And it'll say, get rid of all the green and replace it with our set. And so that's how we set up the cameras. We have other controls to fine tune it, but the main thing is that we want to get it set up while we're setting up the studio and the control room.